everyone, it's Sharona from Pay or Wait. So today I'm going to be reviewing American Horror Story 1984, Season 9, Episode 3, SLASHDANCE. But it should have been called The Secrets of Betrayal, honey. So for the purpose of this review, we're going to split this up into two different sections, because as we pick up where we left off from last week's episode, we see that the group has been split into two. First group is Brooke, Rita, Chet, and Ray. Ooh, we got to talk about Ray for this episode. And then the second group is Trevor, Xavier, and Montana. So we're going to start with the first group because it was just so much happening and so much going on. We have a lot to talk about. So we see that Ramirez, the Night Stalker, he's trying to get into the room. He was banging on the door. Then the banging stops. And then he tries to break through the window. So Rita finally, ma'am, it took a whole 2 episodes for you to find these keys. But clearly we see that Rita is up to a little bit more than what we thought she was going to be up to. So she finds the keys, and then Ray is like, look, we gotta split up. And I was like, no, we ain't finna split up. Like, every time people split up, people die. And then Ray said, Ray was like, look, I can run faster than all of y'all, so I'm finna get the heck up out of here. So he tries to run to the door, but then the Night Stalker comes to the door, then he starts slashing him and stuff like that. And then Rita was like, maybe you right, we're gonna go ahead and go our merry little way over here. So Rita bust out like the person from Get Out. She just started running. So she's running, Brooke running, but Chet wanna stay back and save Ray. And so he hits the Night Stalker, he falls over, and then he gets Ray, and then they start running. So I thought it was funny because, you know, Chet says, well, actually, Rita run faster than you. And I was like, she sure was. Sitting up here talking about, I could outrun everyone. And now look at yourself, trying to be a little coward to lead people. You got all these little slash marks on you. So as they're running, Chet and Ray, they fall into a pit. And so Chet lands on one of the sticks. And so basically he can't move. Ray's trying to help him get up, but he feels that he's going to bleed out if he actually takes him off of the stick. And so for those of you who don't know, we know that Mr. Jingles fought in the Vietnam War. And so this is one of the tactics that they use in war to get their enemies. And so this is basically what Chet has become a victim to. So we see that Brooke, she trying to lead their ass. So she was like, you know what? We need to just get out of here and try to go get help. And Rita was like, hold up, you trying to leave everybody? And then she was like, you know what? Maybe you right. And so then she's trying to get into the car. And then Rita ends up hitting her with something. I was like, oh, wait a minute, what just happened? But I was like, first of all, before I even get into that, I wouldn't have been waiting outside for nobody. I would have been in the car would have been started, engine would have been running. I would have gave y'all like a strong 5 minutes, but if I heard footsteps that didn't sound like people running for safety, I would have left y'all behind. So I'm just keeping it real, telling you how it is, because I got a long life to live and I'm not about to die in Camp Redwood. So we go into a flashback and we see that Nurse Rita is meeting with Karen, who was killed in last week's episode. And she's basically saying that she wants to interview Mr. Jingles. And so she is basically a psychologist and she's been studying serial killers. She says she's interviewed all these famous serial killers, Ted Bundy, and she feels as though that pornography, the objectification of women, has basically led to people becoming serial killers. I said, girl, where do you get all this info from? I just don't understand. You know, that's something that Ted Bundy really felt as though was the reason that triggered him into becoming a serial killer. And so she basically says she wants to talk to Mr. Jingles. She wants to study him. She wants to know what makes him tick. So hopefully she can prevent future serial killers from happening. And so she goes to talk to Mr. Jingles, and then she start talking to him. She get him to start talking, and then basically she tells him like what she's trying to do, that she has a study, and what she wants to do is let him get out so basically she can study him in his natural habitat. She wants to take him back to Camp Redwood. She is the reason that he had the newspaper clipping from Margaret. She tells him that they want to reopen the camp. But Mr. Jingles, really? High fructose corn syrup? Like that's the theory that you're going with? I don't understand. I don't get it, but okay, I guess I'm gonna rock with it. Now I need to start checking these labels to be like, am I like getting too much like high fructose corn syrup? Am I about to go crazy? What is actually happening up in these streets? So we see that he talks about how like he didn't even know that he had murdered these kids, how when he even sees the picture of Margaret, how it makes him want to kill. And so she kind of talks about how the war could have also had something to do with that. And so I just think that this whole thing is crazy. She basically tells Mr. Jingles how to escape. She planned his entire escape. And so she is the reason that he is back wreaking havoc on Camp Redwood. I didn't see that coming, y'all. I was like, okay, finally, things get a little bit interesting. We get a little twist. We thought we was going to have to wait till the middle of the season, but no, baby. They said in episode 3, we're going to give the people what they want. And I was happy that this twist actually made the episode a lot more interesting, and I didn't think that that was going to come from her character. So we see how she becomes Nurse Rita is she's following the real Nurse Rita. And then basically she tells, the lady comes out like, ma'am, you've been following me for quite a few moments. So what's the deal? And so she tells her like she's going to work at Camp Redwood. And then she says, I'm so sorry, like, you know, all these murders and stuff, it just has me like on edge. And then when she told her about the objectification of women and pornography is what led to that, and that's what Ted Bundy told me, baby, let me tell you, as soon as you said Ted Bundy, like y'all had a conversation, like y'all kikiing, like y'all friends, I'd have been like, you know what, B, I don't need to work with you. I'm going to take my behind back to the city, because if they hired your behind, I don't want nothing to do with Camp Redwood, okay? Bye-bye. But of course, we have to make dumb decisions because this is based off of slasher films. So of course, she's like, oh, okay, like, let me go use the bathroom. And then like, hey, we could ride together. Ma'am, you don't know her? Why? I just don't understand. So when she comes out, she sees that Rita's car is gone. She thinks that she left her. And so she's driving. And of course, I can't even call her Rita because that's not even her real name, y'all. Donna was in the back seat, and then I thought she killed her, but later we find out she didn't really kill the real Nurse Rita. And so she tells Brooke that she's injected her with horse tranquilizers, and then Brooke passes out. And so, yeah, so in the middle of all of this, we get to learn a little bit about Ray's story. And so as soon as I saw that they went into Ray's story, and then the fact that Ray was getting on my everlasting nerves, everybody's lasting nerves, being a little coward, trying to lead people, but I was like, I can't even blame him because I would have been gone if it was me. But we see that he had a reason why he was trying to get away from the city, why he wanted to come to Camp Redwood. And so we see that he was in college and he was a part of a fraternity. And so they were going through their hell week, and he had one of the pledgees who was just having a rough time. He's like, I'm gonna give you 10 minutes because we got to work twice as hard and it's not fair. But as he was letting him rest, the kid, who was obviously drunk and tired out of his mind, he ends up falling down the steps. He thinks that the kid is dead. And so he basically says, I'm gonna get rid of the body. And I was just like, child, this is not the hill that I want to die upon today, but okay, I'm gonna ride with you. So he basically puts him in a car, then is about to take him off the cliff, and as he's pushing the car, the dude grabs his hand. He wakes up, he's like, what is happening? And then he tries to stop him, and then he like scratches him, gets his watch, and then the car falls off the cliff. And I think this time Chan is dead. I think he did this time, for real. And so because of this, you know, he drops out of school. This is why he took the job that he had, and he says that 3 days prior to them being at Camp Redwood that they actually found the car. And so that is why he wanted to get away, because he knows it is inevitable that they are going to figure out what he did. And so he's like telling this to Chet, who like passed out from the shock of being in so much pain. But then he sees that Chet was actually awake to hear everything. So he was like, oh, hell no, like he finna rat me out. He said, you know what? I'm finna get my black behind up out of this pit and away from you, and I'm gonna let you die, and you can take my secret with you. And then Chet was like, no, please, save me, please. I ain't gonna tell nobody. And I was like, now you know he finna tell somebody when he get out. So of course Ray leaves him, and basically he runs on his merry little way. And so we then cut to Trevor, Xavier, and Montana, our second group. And so Xavier's still having this breakdown like, I'm so sorry, I got all these people killed, I got Blake killed, I brought all of y'all here. I'm like, sir, snap out of it, okay? Just stop. Now it's not the time. And so basically then Montana's like, I could really use some lubes right now. It's like, girl, this is not the time to be on drugs. I don't think that would really help your situation at this point. But noted that you need some lubes. Get this girl some lubes. So we see that Mr. Jingles is banging on the door. They screaming. I'm screaming. And then Mr. Jingles throws some in the thing, throws some on fire, and then Trevor stumps it out. Then we realized that it was actually poop. And I was like, hold up. I don't think that's part of Mr. Jingles' MO. And so they run outside and they realize it's pranksters who are trying to scare people. This is something they do every anniversary. And so they get upset, and then of course, as they're like laughing, the real Mr. Jingles shows up, and then he of course kills them and, you know, basically cuts their ear off. And so in the meantime, they run away. Mr. Jingles is still walking around, and then we see another Mr. Jingles, the third one, who they thought that the real Mr. Jingles was. He's sitting up here peeing, talking about his urethras are tied up. I said, sir, you just have a lot of problems right now. We could tell that he's a delicate soul. And so when he's talking to Mr. Jingles, even though he don't know that's the real Mr. Jingles, for some reason, I guess he felt so bad for him that it probably wouldn't even be fun to kill him, because it's just so easy. The man tripping, can't see, just kept barely walk. It was just no fun. And so he basically lets him go. So after that, we see that Xavier starts talking about Margaret, talking about, we got to go find Margaret. And then Montana was like, hell no, we ain't finna go find Margaret. We finna get the heck up out of here. And I was like, ding, ding, ding. She has the correct answer. I'm not finna go find Margaret crazy behind, because she shouldn't have opened the camp in the first place. Then Trevor's like, yeah, we gotta go find the cook. I said, thank y'all for finally acknowledging that there's another person here, the cook, that we haven't seen since the first episode. So they want to be Captain Save-A-Ho and go find them. So they hear that, so then they start hearing Mr. Jingles, they hide, and then they find the real Nurse Rita, who's alive. I thought she was dead. I thought Donna had killed her, but she was alive. And then they hear Mr. Jingles, so they trying to hide, and then they take her tape. I said, why y'all take her tape off? Obviously this girl from the screen, she been tied up. She don't know what the heck is going on. Like, y'all just gonna take her like tape off in the middle of Mr. Jingles trying to come get you. Of course, she starts screaming. They put their hand over her. I would have just knocked her out, like, or just put the tape back on her mouth. I don't understand why we didn't do that. But then she breaks free, gets out. Of course, she runs into Mr. Jingles behind. And then he just so disrespectful. He stabs her with the damn oar, like impales her with the oar down her throat. And I was like, what damn, Miss Rita, the real Nurse Rita, like, you didn't have to go out like that, but you was being stupid and making too much noise. So I was like, good riddance, bye-bye, on to the next one. So they looking at her crazy. Then they see the name tag, and it's like, oh, snap. It clicks for them that that's the real Nurse Rita. So if that's the real Nurse Rita, who's the other Nurse Rita that we were introduced to? They still don't know. So as they're running, they run into Ray, and then he lied to them, talking about, I lost Chet. I don't know where nobody at. I said, sir, I know you finna die, because you just been doing way too much. First of all, you a black man, and you made it to the 3rd episode. I know you finna die. I looked at him in that 1st episode. I said, well, this is based on 80s horror film. He ain't gonna live. He is not gonna live to tell the tale. And then from all this mess and all the screen time and the backstory, I was like, I know he finna go at some point in time in this episode. So he basically tells them that Brooke and Rita are together, and then they tell him that's not the real Nurse Rita. And so then they Ray's like, look, y'all, I've had about enough. I'm over it. I'm finna leave. Y'all trying to be on the Captain Save-A-Ho mission. I'm not doing any of that. I'm gonna get my black ass up out of here. And so then Trevor's like, here, take the keys to my bike, and then take Montana with you. I was like, Lord, Montana, you just don't do it, girl. Don't do it. But of course she goes with him. And then we see that we hear Chet screaming. Mr. Jingles hears Chet screaming, so he goes after him. And then Xavier and Trevor actually find him first. Then Chet tell them the truth, like, Ray black ass left me. And so then they were like, what? He said he lost you. I said, well, guys, at this point, does it really matter? Either you gonna save him or you not. So then Trevor lowers Xavier to the pit, and then Xavier's like, hey, I'm so sorry if I kill you. I'm sorry ahead of time. And then he pulls him out, and then Chet starts screaming. I said, Chet, shut the hell up. Just shut up. Why are you screaming so loud? I know you in pain. I understand, boo. But you finna get everybody killed. And if that's the case, I would put his behind right back on that stick, or found some tape, put something over his mouth, because he was making me mad with all the screaming he was doing. So then they hear Mr. Jingles, and then they get everybody out of the pit. They pull him over, and then Trevor gets the idea, it's 3 against 1. I said, but my man's over here. It's not 3 against 1. And Xavier like, it's 2, because obviously he's hurt. What he finna do but scream? And so then Trevor's like, I got my guns. I'm finna take them. And he run and push him in the pit. And I was like, that was too easy. I know they ain't the real Mr. Jingles. They didn't kill the fake Mr. Jingles, who is just challenged in life. And of course, he realizes that that's the person that he pushed in there. And so then, in the midst of all of that, they see that, Montana decides that she wants to be Nancy Drew, because Ray and Montana finally make it to the bike. She want to be Nancy Drew, start looking at tracks, be a little detective. I said, girl, this ain't the time. Get your behind on that bike and get the hell up out of here. Ray had the right idea. He started the engine. They see the Night Stalker. He said, I'm finna get the hell up out of here. Ray left her ass, as I would have, because then nobody tell you to be doing all this extra stuff. Your job was to get your behind to the bike and y'all can go get help. That's all you was supposed to do. So if something happens to you, I don't feel sorry for you, Montana. So Ray getting away, and I was like, dang, the black man might actually survive this episode. And then, of course, no, Mr. Jingles is waiting. He chopped the fool head off, and then Ray is dead. Bye, Ray, because you got on my everlasting nerves this entire episode. I'm sure that everyone hated you this episode, so I was happy to see you go bye-bye. But at least as a black man, you made it to the 3rd episode. So take your wins while you can. So we see that Montana and the Night Stalker, they staring at each other. Then she pushed him. Then she started kissing her. I said, girl, what you kissing him for? Like, are you that horny today? And then she bites him, and he stepped back and look at her. And then I'm looking at him. And then she say, why haven't you killed her yet? And I said, well, I'll be damned. It was another twist. They didn't give us 1 twist. They gave us 2 twists this episode. So now I'm trying to figure out, who are they trying to kill? Like, why does she want him to kill Brooke so bad? Is she related to, like, you know, her fiance or the fiance's friend that got killed? Like, what is the connection? But I was just like, you know what, y'all? This was probably the best episode of the season so far with the reveals. I feel like they worked for the episode. And it's taken in a different direction, because what they were doing for the first 2 episodes, I'm sorry, I just wasn't into it. I wasn't feeling it. But with this little tea, you know, I love me some little tea. I love me a little twist and turn, a big reveal. I was like, I am here for this. I am excited to see where we're going to go with American Horror Story 1984. So let me know in the comment section below, like, do you like the 2 twists that happened? Do you feel like this is the best episode? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section below. But as always, my name is Sharonda from Pay or Wait. And if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.